All right, so here we are, part 2 of the Bear Creek Arsenal 223 Wilde build. I know in the beginning I kind of showed you guys, what I do to the any firearm that I get for that matter. And now we have, this is just unloaded, just wanted to show everybody. We have matched it with the lower. And we've done our first modification, if you will, to this firearm, and that is in the trigger, and we're going to talk about that coming up next. Okay, so AR-15 platform, 223 Wilde, Bear Creek Arsenal, never fired. The only thing I've done is from part 1 of the video where I actually went and basically just checked to make sure that everything was in, I don't know, tolerance, spec, whatever you want to call it. I tightened up, made sure that everything was tight in the gas block, in, all the barrel nut, also in the handguard mount itself, and then mounted it. The only thing, as I said before, is we did change the trigger. This is a Fostech Echo 2. For those of you guys that are unfamiliar with an Echo 2 or a Fostech, it is a binary trigger. What does that mean, Moose? I'm going to show you. So, first and foremost, I just want to make sure everybody understands this gun is 100% never had a round in it. Still does not have a round in it, but I want to show you guys what a binary trigger is. So it has 3 positions in its trigger system. It has safety, right? Cannot pull the trigger, will not fire. Then it has semi-auto. What does that mean? It means I pull the trigger once, the action articulates, I let off the trigger, it resets, I pull the trigger again, and it fires. Make sense? Then what we have is echo mode, and that is binary. And what that means is I flip the switch one more time, right? I charge a round, I pull the trigger, the action articulates. This time, when I let my finger off, it fires again. The action articulates, I pull the trigger, it fires. Action articulates, I let off the trigger, it fires. Okay? So that is what that means. The other nice thing, in my opinion, about binary triggers is the safety can be engaged even if the weapon itself is not charged. This weapon is not charged right now. So even if there was a round in there, which there shouldn't be, couldn't be, wouldn't be, the trigger doesn't work. But I can still put it on safe and fire. So that is where we are at this point. The next stage is going to be to put a optic on this, and I'd like to hear from you guys what you guys think. I want to keep this very budget-ish. Now, with the exception of the trigger, these triggers are not cheap. But I would say that even though this has a binary trigger, I would still say that most people are going to upgrade their trigger in one way or another. Mil-spec triggers, while I am not a big trigger snob, I would say that the majority of just about any drop-in trigger system or upgrade trigger system is going to feel more smooth, articulate better than a mil-spec trigger. So I would think that anybody would do a trigger job to just about any gun that you own. Most of my center fires, and especially my rim fires, they all have triggers in them. Timney, most of them are Timney. Yes. So the next step in building this budget-friendly AR is going to be an optic. So we're going to get an optic mounted to this. I want to hear what you guys have to say in the comments down below on what you put on top of here. You can be specific if you'd like, but I'd rather, let's narrow it down to red dot, right? Like a Sig Romeo, an LPVO, preferably, something, that's, I personally like first focal plane. I get it. There's a lot of people out there that'll say, man, second focal plane's where it's at. And I don't always disagree, but if I'm going to carry an AR, I like the first focal plane, especially illuminated first focal plane. And we'll go into that more in another video. Don't really want to go with any kind of really high powered variable, but that doesn't mean I wouldn't. ACOG maybe, thermal. Thermals are great, and don't get me wrong, I've got a great thermal there that's going to be brought to the channel really soon. However, thermals are just not practical for every single day use, right? You're much better off with glass optic or something like that. So, or a holographic sight like a Neotech, something like that. So let me know what you guys want to see on this. Keep in mind that we're trying to keep it budget. So I have looked into a couple, like the Reflex sight by Sightmark. I've thought about a Romeo. I've thought about an LPVO. I've got a bunch of LPVOs. I really don't like to take them off the ARs that they're already on, but it doesn't mean that I couldn't, or even just find another one. I've told you guys that we have a new ammo sponsor, Billet Bob's Ammo. I will be talking more about that coming up. I have ammo on the way for this, 223 ammo, and we are literally going to take this thing out for first shots and just start pulling the trigger. Once again, God is my witness. You guys have been watching me long enough to know I don't BS. I don't hide things. I don't, talk about, hey, I'm not going to go out and shoot it and figure out if it's got an issue and then bring it to you. So this is, Bear Creek Arsenal is aware of what I'm doing. They did send me this. I am going to take this out, shoot it exactly the way it is. And if we have a failure, we're going to figure out why we had that failure, because that's very important in my opinion, and we'll resolve the issue. So with that being said, I'm super stoked to bring you guys more and more of this. So moving forward, I suppose, we'll see you guys in the next video where we actually put an optic onto this, and we'll also be doing the shooting. So stay tuned for part 3 of the Bear Creek Arsenal 223 Wilde build, and we'll go from there. So till next time, be good to each other, and God bless.